Hey everyone, today we'll be sharing everything that you need to know if you're planning to move to London. In this video, we'll be sharing a few practical tips, right from where you should live, what to pack, and things that you should sort out as soon as you move to London so that your next 3 to 6 months in London are smooth.
We are assuming that you have already sorted out your visa process, but if you want more information on visa process and immigration, let us know in the comments below.
Quick intro. We are Ro and Wish, and we make content around our life in London, career growth, and travel itineraries from London to beautiful places. We're also super close to hitting the 1000 subscriber mark. So if you enjoy this video, hit the subscribe button and support us.
Alright, let's dive right into it. First of all, we'll discuss what to bring and what not to bring. We are originally from India, and the first time we moved here, we packed a lot of dals and pulses and spices and whatnot.
Oh God.
We almost thought that we won't find all of those things here in London, but we were actually very wrong.
Yeah, we also thought that, all of these items, even if you find them in London, would be very expensive. But honestly, that's not true. London is truly global and you literally find anything here. And irrespective of which country you're coming from, you would find a grocery shop selling the things that you absolutely love. And the things are not even very expensive. I mean, they are adjusted quite to the purchasing power parity. And the further you move away from central London, the prices come down.
In fact, stores like Tesco or Sainsbury's, which would be located near to your place, they will have all of those essentials that you might need. So all the space that you save by not bringing these things should actually be used for your medicines, which is so important. If you have some prescription, make sure you bring along your prescription with your medicines and get plenty of them, as finding medicines here can be difficult and even very expensive.
Yeah, I mean, you do find over-the-counter medicines here. But if there's any particular medicine that you're used to, definitely carry them because here getting medicines is quite difficult.
And then goes without saying, all your important documents such as passports, medical certificates, graduation certificates, and whatnot. So make sure you bring all your important documents, as getting them couriered from your home country can be a big task for you.
And depending on which season you're arriving in London, definitely make sure that you've got some proper clothes. For example, in London, it does rain quite often, so make sure you've got a weatherproof jacket, or during winters, make sure you've got a thick coat. And it's not like you don't find these things in London, but as soon as you arrive, you should have these tables. As soon as you get out of the airport, like you should be ready for the weather. Okay, now let's talk about the things that you should be doing as soon as you land in London. First of all, get a UK SIM card. Goes without saying, whatever you would do, whatever you would need a UK number. And we personally use Labara, which is quite handy. We pay £5 every month and we get unlimited calls within the UK, 60 minutes international minutes, and 2 GB data per month. And then there are like different plans that you could choose accordingly. There are also companies like GiveGaff and Leica Mobile that you could also explore. And these SIMs are very easy to find in any other grocery stores. Would highly recommend not to get them at the airport or be worried about getting them shipped beforehand. They're very accessible.
Now that you've landed, you will need a bank account. We recommend Revolut and Monzo to start with, as the documentation of these are not so difficult and you can quickly open an account within minutes with these guys. Although it's easy to open a Revolut or Monzo account, they are not recognized as banks yet in the UK. So for the long term, we would recommend that you get a bank account in the high street banks such as Barclays or an HSBC or a NatWest.
You should definitely think of applying for a provisional driving license. Now, this is a license that you get basically before the main driving license, and you don't need to take any tests or exams. The point of provisional driving license is to make sure that when you're practicing for the main test, you are able to do so. Why I'm saying this is, even if you're not planning to drive in the UK, provisional driving license is a great identification for wherever you are in the UK, and even if you're traveling in Europe, I've used my provisional driving license so many times wherever I have to prove my birthday. To be fair, if you do have, like, for example, your Indian driving license that is valid for a year in the UK, and you can actually use that to drive around in the UK for a year. But the point of provisional driving license is nothing to do with driving, but to serve you as an additional ID so that you're not carrying your e-visa or your passport everywhere else.
Now, moving on to where to actually live in London. London is divided into zones from 1 to 6. The further you go, the cheaper the rent, but the travel time and costs keep on adding up. West London is generally the most expensive areas of London, and South and East are more of the upcoming areas. Some areas that we recommend, which are not very far from central London and offer great value, are Stratford, Elephant and Castle, Clapham,
Canary Wharf, Wimbledon, even Greenwich or Canada Water. These are some of the areas we would recommend checking out.
Pro tip here is to never sign a lease without being actually physically present here in London. In the first few days, we would recommend that you stay in an Airbnb so that you can scout around properties and find the right one for you.
Yeah, definitely. And apart from Airbnb, you can also check out spare rooms or choose to stay with a friend if that's an option for you in order to save cost. But why we are saying this is because even though the apartments look really nice in pictures and the boroughs are technically ranked really safe, but what we've seen from our experience in London is that the vibe can change from street to street. So, for example, even if you find a house in, let's just say hypothetically, Notting Hill, the various streets in Notting Hill could be very different. So, highly recommend checking the area as well as the apartment in person before signing anything. You can use Rightmove or Zoopla or even spare rooms in order to find these apartments. And always try to get an early exit clause or a break clause so that you're not stuck in that apartment for like 3 years. And as soon as you've found a place to live, you should immediately get yourself registered with the NHS. You should register yourself with the NHS, which is nearest to your place. And that's why this can only be done once you've signed the lease or the rental agreement or bought a house, whatever the situation may be. And this is a pro tip. If you've already received private healthcare insurance from your employer, that's great. But if not, you should negotiate for it because even though NHS is great for emergency situations, for day to day, or if you've fallen sick with a cold or flu, or you've like basically hurt yourself, lower back, all of these situations, private healthcare insurance can come in really handy. Now, this is quite important, cost of living in London. Some people don't realize how expensive London is until they're here. We actually made a very detailed video transparently sharing what we spent in a month as a couple living in London. So definitely check that out. But just to give a brief overview, majority of your expense would go into rent. And for example, if you're living in zone 2, you could easily spend between 1800 to 3000 for a 2-bed apartment in London.
On top of rent, you would have miscellaneous expenses such as council tax, which could be around 100 to 200 pounds a month, utilities, which would include your gas, electricity, and water, again ranging from 100 to 150 per household, and transport, which would again depend on how much you travel and how far you are traveling. Since we're already talking about costs, we also want to share some money saving hacks over here in London. There are several grocery stores here in London, and some of the cheaper ones are Aldi and Lidl, followed by Sainsbury's and Tesco, whereas Waitrose is amongst the most expensive of grocery stores. So if you want to be cautious of your budgets, make sure you're buying from a grocery store which fits your bills. You also have a lot of loyalty cards from each of those grocery stores. So make sure you just get one of those so you can rack up on points and use them later for some cash back or even more purchases.
If you are a student, you have so many student discounts available. So definitely do not miss them. Make sure you've signed up with Uni Days or Student Beans because there are always offers on these apps and you can get discounts on a lot of brands, be it like luxury, clothing, day-to-day items, etc. Then definitely get a rail card when you're here, which is like under 25, under 30. There are a lot of rail cards available like that. And you do end up saving a lot. Like these rail cards pay for themselves in like two or three trips. And these rail cards last for at least a year. You save about one third of the fare using rail cards, and you can also link your rail cards to the Oyster to travel on tubes, and you get extra discount on that as well. So the last tip on money saving hacks is to use cards like Revolut or Monzo or Yonder, which is a master credit card, in order to collect points so that you could get discounts on a lot of things. However, disclaimer, please get credit cards only if you trust yourself with them.
So if you're interested in more money saving hacks, let us know in the comments below and we'll make one separate video for it.
Now, last but not the least, the lifestyle shockers. And we want to share this with you so that you're mentally prepared when you come to London. Uh, First of all, the weather. If you're coming from a very hot country, you would find the weather here really difficult to adjust to. So during winters, the sun sets really quickly, the sun rises really late, you hardly get any daylight, it gets really cold. And somehow I feel that every person who is new to this country has to fall sick during the winter season. It is a given. So your body takes time to adjust. So as we mentioned earlier, make sure that you're carrying proper clothes and you carrying your medicines because yeah, the weather could be a bit difficult to deal with.
But not everything is as gloomy. The cultural diversity here is for real. You will find restaurants and people from all kind of different backgrounds and you will have a great time once you come.
Public transport is truly one of the best in London. And you've got the buses, the tubes, the overgrounds, the trains. There's just so many options, and you could be literally anywhere through public transport. And everything is so walkable as well. So do not worry about, getting a car or a bike because public transport's got you.
And lastly, if you're coming here to work, the work culture here is incredible. Expect a 9 to 5 work timing with great work life balance. So we both definitely enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, this would definitely come with a caveat if you're working in industries like consulting or banking, those would be long hours. But generally, what I've seen here is that your work life balance is really respected, or should we call it work life harmony? I think that's what the companies have been calling it these days. But yeah, like it's not as bad as some of the other countries out there. And that's it, folks. That was a crash course on moving to London. We really hope you found this video helpful and we really wish you all the luck so that your move to London is really smooth. If you like this video, please like and subscribe and let us know in the comments below if there's any other video you would like us to make. Until next time.